Hello everybody and welcome back to Red Eagle Politics. Make sure you guys like this video down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. So Greenland has been back in the news lately. Everybody knows that Donald Trump wants to acquire Greenland in some way, shape, or form. And it does seem as if the steps to be taken to get Greenland got a little bit easier over the past week because of the fact that they held elections, and even though the winners of the election are not really a big fan of Donald Trump, there's still a positive step in the right direction. Even NBC News agrees, where it does seem as if because you had parties that win and they overperformed expectations, and they were pro-independence. One is more of like a gradual independence. One is more like a radical independence. Both of those parties won Greenland's most recent election, which kind of indicates that the path gets a lot easier. It doesn't mean that it's going to happen overnight, but the path definitely gets a lot easier. And we talk about Greenland. Donald Trump, it would be a big accomplishment if he was able to go out there and get Greenland. It's not a very big island in terms of the population. There's only 56,583 people per the 2022 estimate. There were more people who watched my most recent videos on Greenland per video on average than the total population of Greenland. That's not me trying to brag or flex. That's just me trying to say that there's not a lot of people there, but there's a lot of area. And you're talking about a place where there's a lot of minerals, and you talk about for strategic purposes in terms of controlling those shipping lanes, controlling the region militarily. We have one base there. We could use plenty more. That would get a lot easier if we controlled Greenland. Now, a lot of people are going to say, well, would they be like the 51st state? I've gotten questions, would they vote red or blue? Well, probably if they did instantly become a state, they'd be blue. The only problem is they don't have enough people to become a state. It would become a territory like Guam, like the Northern Mariana Islands. It would not be in Alaska unless enough people moved up there, which probably would mean that at that point it'd be far into the future, probably be a red state, assuming no massive realignment, just because of the fact that, a lot of oil, similar to Alaska, you'd have a lot of people move up there. Definitely the people buying land up there would probably be more Trump friendly than not. But you see this, Greenland, there's a lot of reasons why Donald Trump would like to acquire it. Now, that doesn't mean Greenland's instantly on board. A lot of Greenlanders have pushed back on the idea. But still, this is a step in the right direction, and I'm going to explain why. Because you have this independence movement in Greenland. That is true. And they don't necessarily want to be a part of America, but they sure as hell don't want to be a part of Denmark. And many of these people, when polled, have said they would rather become independent from Denmark than not. And you could see here, 2016, there was a poll. 64% supported full independence. And 67.8% in 2019 showed that they support independence from Denmark sometime in the next 2 decades. A 2025 poll most recently showed 84% of Greenlanders, they don't want to be a part of Denmark. They don't like the way Denmark has been treating them. And it is true that it would be disingenuous if I didn't cover the other parts of these polls, because there's a 2017 poll that showed that 78% would oppose independence if it implied a lower standard of living, and 45% most recently would oppose it, which is actually very, very low, by the way, now in the most recent poll. And honestly, it's kind of a leading question. It's disingenuous because it's clear that the people would overwhelmingly support independence because they believe that it's preferable than the standard of living that Denmark is providing. However, once Greenland is independent, there's a chance that they're not going to be able to sustain themselves, and that part is true. But still, you're kind of seeing the fact that if they're going to be independent for a while, they're going to have to work more closely with countries like the U.S. And even a lot of the same Trump critics in Greenland, people who don't really want to join the U.S., have said that, yeah, we'd like to have a closer relationship with the United States instead of Denmark and be free from Denmark. So what do you do at that point? They care a lot about the standard of living. That's what these polls show. There's not that many people there. I mean, it's pretty obvious that you could strike a deal for independence independence at some point. It's not like you'd have to take care of an island of millions upon millions upon millions of people. This isn't Puerto Rico. 60,000 people, that's like the size of like a mid-sized suburb, you could argue, not even, depending on the metro area of like a city in the United States. Just strike a deal with them. Whatever monetary value we'd have to provide, we're going to get all that back and more in terms of the value of the oil that we would have access to, the shipping lanes that we would have access to, the rare earth minerals that we would have access to the point where it would be absolutely massive for the U.S. to acquire this. This isn't even a new idea. I believe Reagan has talked about it. Other presidents in the past have talked about it. Of course, there's going to be a lot of opposition from the Democrats in regards to the topic just because of the fact that, Trump supports it and we have to oppose everything that Trump does. That's how these people think. They're not really seeing the big picture. But I do think that independence could be on the horizon. It very well could be. And it does seem as if even a lot of people, even if they don't want to join the U.S., that Trump's interest in Greenland has strengthened the cause of Greenland's independence from Denmark. So even if they don't want to join the U.S., you are kind of seeing the fact that just the fact that Trump has these people talking about it, they're realizing, Denmark's a problem. We want to be independent. And Trump and his push for Greenland has kind of in part caused the polling to kind of skyrocket in terms of the amount of Greenlanders who want independence, going up from 67.8% the last time it was being talked about. Trump making a much bigger push now. 84% now support independence. So a lot of people are talking in Greenland about this, and they're not really fans of Denmark. That doesn't mean they're going to join the U.S. overnight, though, and I've said this as well because it's very true. I think Greenland is going to be our Texas. That does not mean that they're going to be a big state in the future. But like Texas back in the day, they finally got independence from Mexico, and then they were their own country. And eventually, over time, they realized that they would benefit from joining the Union. We annexed Texas. They became a state, and it's one of our largest states today. So you're kind of seeing that. They will never be a state in terms of Greenland unless enough people in the lower 48 move up there, which I don't think you're probably going to see that happen anytime soon. But it might not all happen within Trump's term. That's another thing. It might not. He'll get the credit, though. It might happen under J.D. Vance if he wins the 2028 election. But regardless, Donald Trump is going to get the credit. Just like JFK, a lot of people will credit him with the moon landing. A lot of people have credited Reagan with the fall of the Soviet Union, despite the fact that, the moon landing happened under Nixon. The fall of the Soviet Union happened under Bush 1. But it's clear that a lot of people will credit JFK laying down the groundwork for the moon landing, or Reagan with the fall of the Soviet Union as well. So either way, this is a net positive. It's a step in the right direction. I could totally see Greenland becoming independent very soon, and then the United States having much more pull to make a deal at some point within the next 5 to 10 years to acquire Greenland and make it Donald's icebox, the newest territory, and it's going to have a lot of benefit for the United States if that does happen. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. Like this video down below, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another video. Follow me on social media. The links are all in the description down below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Red Eagle, out.